is going on, y'all? It has been a minute since we did a shop/barn update. A lot has changed. I think the last time I did a video on the barn was probably like a year ago. We're gonna get into I say quick because it's probably like a, I don't know, 10-minute video or so. So it's quick in comparison to the past whole year of putting in lots of time, lots of effort, lots of money into closing out the barn and slowly turning it into my workshop space. Yeah, it's been a really long journey. So let's get into it, dive right into kind of what we did and where we're at now. I'm really excited to get back into springtime, back into summer, and start cranking out some new projects. So the barn has come a long way. We did a lot of framing. We put up the other big barn door in the front of the barn. That came out decent. I think it came out better than the first one. It's by no means probably the right way to do it, but you gotta keep in mind a lot of what I do is based on reusing, reclaiming material. So I don't always have the exact right dimensions. So that's kind of what happened with the two big doors in the front, is that I had 8-foot long pieces and I needed a 12-foot tall door. So instead of going out and spending a bunch of extra money, I've had so many of these 2x4s that were 8 feet. So I just, did some splicing. So next up on our barn build is we started to frame up this first wall. In this wall, I picked up a couple of, actually 3 windows. I picked up 3 windows. 2 were the same and 1 was kind of bigger. So I'm framing up the bigger window here. It's pretty straightforward stuff. We got 16 on center studs. We're just rocking and rolling. And then this next portion, I kind of skipped a little bit because I was just trying to get some work in and I didn't want to record everything. So the 2 big openings that are gonna end up being 4 big sliding barn doors in the end, I framed that off camera. We eventually move on to the 2 windows that I framed stacked on top of each other. And I did this just because I wanted to make sure I had good natural light coming in. So I stacked 2 of those windows on top of each other. There was just like a little bit of a gap between them. I think it was like a little less than a foot. And then the last thing I framed up was the door. I was really fortunate enough to be able to get a couple doors from my work that were getting tossed out because they were just temporary doors for the project. And honestly, the door that I ended up putting on the outside is a really nice door. It's a full metal door. It's got a little window on it and it's 8 feet tall. So it is like a very cool, like big door, which obviously it's a big barn, so it doesn't look out of place by any means. And I figured, why not? If I don't want to open up the sliding barn doors all the time and I need to get something massive in, this will make it, a little bit easier. I also sourced another metal door that I'm gonna eventually frame into the garage, like a 2-car garage. It's kind of nice because it means that coming from my house, I could just kind of walk through the garage and then into the barn versus having to walk outside and then into the barn. It's not like a crazy big deal, but it's just kind of nice to connect the 2 spaces together. Because I don't know what it's gonna look like down the line, but right now it's kind of just full of a bunch of junk that, a lot of it needs to get thrown out. But so after all the framing was done on the doors, the windows, everything else, everything was framed, I moved on to siding. And by siding, again, let's go back to the reclaiming stuff thing, right? I didn't go buy siding. I had all of these panels that I took apart that I got from work that were being used as temporary panels at a job from like, I don't know, a year and a half ago or 2 years almost now. And I just saved them because I knew that one day I would want to close out barn or whatever. It's material. Material's expensive, so I was like, let me take all of these sheets of plywood and 2x4s. So anyways, the next portion was just putting paper on the whole barn, and I started to add the siding, around the windows, around the doors, all that good stuff. That part was kind of fun. I'll be honest, it was fun because it was more woodworking, so to speak, because I had to notch a lot of like the rafters on top and then obviously cut around the windows and the doors and stuff. So it's kind of more technical and I enjoy that aspect of carpentry and woodworking way more, to be able to not just cut through stuff. I really like to think and measure everything out and get it all perfect, and then finally cut it, and then I go and I put it in place and everything works out. Like, it's very satisfying to me. That was the next portion of the build out here for the barn. And I would say that the final, I guess not final, so the trim was the final portion, but that's, you know, it's kind of quick. Just trim around the windows and the doors, nothing too crazy. But I would say that the biggest project within the project was building the 4 sliding barn doors. These things are massive. They are about 6 feet wide and they are about 10.5 feet tall. So you can imagine 4 of those doors is ridiculous. If you watch any of my shorts, or you know, a good amount of my shorts, I kind of did the whole process of how I built them there on shorts, so I didn't record it this way. I only recorded it vertically for, you know, TikToks and reels and whatnot, and shorts. It was kind of a long process. I spent probably the better half, not more than the better half, I spent about a month building out these 4 doors. It was really rainy during that time. The original plan was my brother was gonna spray them front and back, primered, and then paint the front, and we were gonna call it a day. It was gonna be like a 1-day type of deal as far as the paint goes. And instead it turned into lots of rain and me having to paint them by hand, both sides, in and out, all the trim, inside here. And you know, I do have a lot of space, but I could only do 1 door at a time because they're so massive. So it was kind of a lot. Regardless, the barn doors were really cool. I had a really good time building them out. You know, we were putting them up like each day. Like I think I did like all 4 of them. Like I was slowly like finishing one and then putting it up and then finishing the other, putting it up. It was all like kind of simultaneously going up, or not simultaneously, but like in sequence. Like I think within like 4 or 5 days I put all 4 up, and with the help of my brother. It was so cool to finally see them go up and see it all come together. This video is probably like 12 minutes long, and realistically everything in this video probably took about a year. Yes, this probably could have been done way quicker, but doing it pretty much single-handedly. My brother helped on a few things, but I would say 95% was solo. There was a lot of challenges that I had to overcome, you know? Measuring things out. There were so many times where there would be windy days where I'm just trying to get some work done, and I'm like stretching over my tape measure and the wind just breaks my tape measure, just back and forth all day long. You know, if I had one helper throughout the whole process, you know, you just give them the tape measure, they hold it, you measure and you cut, and things are rolling really quickly. Or just the fact that I had to go up and down the ladder just for everything. I'd have to go up the ladder, measure, go down the ladder, cut, bring the piece back up the ladder, then put it together. There's so many things that make it so much more difficult being one person versus having just 2. 2 would literally probably have made this project go 10 times faster. But regardless, it is really nice to be able to like look at this whole thing and think, wow, literally 1 year ago, there was nothing here. It was just wide open with some 4x6 like posts. I am really proud of where we're at, but we have so much to go. So much to go. So if you guys enjoy this style of video, please give me a follow. I'd really appreciate it. We are only beginning. We are only starting. I think there is so much to come. First off, we're gonna finish all of the shop and make it really nice. You know, I'm constantly getting new tools and investing in this. I know we haven't really built anything like that stands out, so to speak, but there is a lot coming. I promise you that. I plan on building all sorts of original pieces. I plan on refinishing things. I plan on just making custom random things. I'm trying to get really crazy with it, and I need y'all's support. I need your support. That's the main thing. I think we're gonna be able to, not even I think, I know this is gonna turn into something really special, and I'm excited to share this with you guys, and I will try to start posting more consistently. I do have a full-time job. I'm a union carpenter in the San Francisco Bay Area, so if there's overtime, I'm taking it, because unfortunately, YouTube doesn't pay the bills, not yet. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.